So that's part of the audit process that the independent audit firm is looking at as well.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, just one more. Are there certified public accounting firms in New Mexico that would be qualified to do this type of work?
Mr. Chairman, Senator, I'm almost certain that there would be, but I've not looked into that question specifically for that purpose.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Good. Okay, O'Neill.
Thank you. Members of the committee, thank you, Senator O'Neill.
Oh, I'm sorry, Senator. Sitting on the wrong side over there.
No, not that I care that much about these titles.
And we're so used to having you in the house that I can't forget that having.
I understand, it happens. But thank you both for coming here today. Auditor Balderas, when you, as a standard procedure, when you audit all the different state agencies, as you do every year, and you do a fine job for that, do you meet with the agency before you release the actual audit? Do you give them the courtesy of a heads up to say, hey, this is a problem, and we're looking at this, we think it's clerical, et cetera. Do you do that as a standard procedure with your state agencies?
Mr. Chairman, Senator, it's common that an audit firm will, as a courtesy, provide findings before an exit conference to let management know that there have been some discoveries. If it's a high-risk special audit investigation, there might be a rare time where the entity is not notified because of a criminal referral or something of that sort. But mainly your financial audits, management usually knows of the findings right before the exit conference.
And I bring this up, Mr. Chairman, just because my experience with audits is actually just one time, or several times when I was the head of a small state agency, the juvenile parole board, and we would have our audit and appear before your fine committee every year and explain our budget and so forth. And we always were given the courtesy of face-to-face, hey, it looks good, but you got a couple things here, nothing that important, but you need to check this out. So I guess my question to you, Secretary Balderas, and I know this isn't really your domain, because this really should go to HSD, but why were these providers, these 15 providers, not given the opportunity to know what the results of this audit, what these results were? How on earth could they respond in any way, shape, or form to any of these accusations? I mean, why in your opinion, were these were these providers not given that opportunity?
Mr. Chairman, Senator, I don't know that I could even begin to try to speculate on that. I'd probably safer because we're auditing the entity. It wouldn't be fair for me to speculate on that right now. But I know that is a big point of contention, the amount of information that's being relied upon, that management is making decisions based on audit findings and test work, and then not fully disclosing that test work and the results of those findings. I can assure you that one of the reasons we subpoenaed the report was so that we could also do our own independent test work of the PCG report. And so, we're trying to also develop our own opinions and conclusions of how reliable that report is as well. The Attorney General said that report is a starting point, but it's also important for us to test and see if that report is accurate, because obviously the administration, HSD, and even the providers are all relying on some form of conclusions once this report is publicly released. So we're already anticipating that we'll need to answer your question. I just can't answer and speculate right now why that information hasn't been provided yet. Obviously, there is a justification because there's an ongoing criminal investigation, but other deficiencies that have been identified, I'm not sure why PCG has not disclosed those to those providers, I can't speculate yet, but hopefully we'll assist in getting the bottom of it.
Mr. Chairman, Senator, if I can add to that, it's my understanding, I mean, also just from looking into this, that, I mentioned that North Carolina had a similar circumstance where PCG issued an audit that was similar to this one, but it's also my understanding that in that case, that the provider agency, we're talking about providers of these agencies, that the state agency in charge of providing the services, I don't know if they call theirs human services or not, individually called in their providers to talk about that, and as I said, some of what are in the audit are what we call billing irregularities, and I think that it certainly would have been within the discretion and the purview of the Human Services Department to sit down with these agencies individually, to talk to them about these billing irregularities as part of their determination to decide whether or not there were credible allegations of fraud. And I think, interesting enough, once you report it to the feds that you've got credible allegations of fraud, then it triggers all kinds of things. But I think prior to that determination of credible allegations of fraud, that the Human Services Department had a fair amount of discretion in how they operated and worked